everyone, and welcome to the Wheel and Chill Show.
So funny, I was like super empowered. I don't think I could sleep.
Still follows the same rules, has the same characters and all that stuff,
Yes.
but it just tweaks it a little bit.
You're reading fantasy, and it's so grounded. It's so completely grounded in reality.
Rule clarification, if we both get it wrong, do we get bonus points?
Soldier Simmons, it is my pleasure to now pin you, raising you from the rank of soldier to dedicated.
That didn't happen in the books, but it was awesome.
I nailed it.
I nailed that.
I nailed it. Let me bring you comfort about Egwene. I know you haven't seen her in a month, but let me tell you this story about how badass she is right now.
That fight scene, my boy went through 5 daggers.
Everybody's flower is different. I think we learned that in the books. This is I think for me, top 5 moments ever on screen.
When I read it, I felt empowered. I felt called to action.
One of the best quotes in the whole series is when Gaul says, "Do you like to dance, Baron Ibarra?"
The Knights Who Say Chill.
AKA the band of really, really nice good guys.
Let a couple more drip on.
Can you review your chain everywhere?
I am.
Do you have a chaser should you need it?
Can I have a little bit of mine too?
Oh, no.
Yo, this is good.
Young people do like this now or something instead of this.
Oh, they do. It's like this.
The heart emoji.
Don't jiggle, jiggle.
It folds. I like the way you wiggle, wiggle.
You
Oh,
wiggle.
show. We're going to review the entirety of season 1 of the Wheel of Time, the whole thing, finale of Rings of Power. Welcome to the Wheel and Chill Show. Hello, and welcome to the Wheel and Chill Show. We are back this week once again talking about the OA. Hashtag save the OA. Hashtag save the OA. I am a OA or an OA first timer. I have never seen any OA episodes before we decided to watch them for the Wheel and Chill Show.
Never have I ever.
Never have I ever until now. And now we have officially seen all of us have all now seen the entire first season of the OA. And we are going to talk about specifically the back half of the season, episodes 5 through 8, but also probably the season as a whole since we just finished it. So we're doing this at the request of Winespring and or Tavern because they liked it so much, and so now I've watched it. I'm glad that I have, and I'm excited to be talking about it. So as always on the Wheel and Chill Show, we're going to do brief introductions and then we will get into the conversation. So Winespring, why don't you kick us off?
Well, I gotta say, I love that little note there at the end when you said you are glad you've watched it.
Yes.
Yes, that means we gotcha. Season 2 is gonna be even better. Maybe. Anyways, I'm Winespring. You can catch me on Twitter at Winespring Cafe and
did you hear what she just said? Where
She said Twitter.
Where can we
She said
catch
Twitter.
Yeah, because where was I hired? NASA.
Again, you can say whatever the hell you want now.
What I want.
No more being a shill. So
Check out hashtag watch online to look recipes around the Wheel of Time. It's really great. Okay, thanks.
Hashtag White Eats, eat her food. The recipes can be found at the hashtag. If you click on it, it's an amazing thing over on
Great summation.
Twitter.
Thank you.
Tavern, go ahead.
Hi everybody, I am Tavern and I am operating the vessel that you see in front of you. Contrary to popular belief. Because it could be a little alien. You never know. There's stuff happening in 2024. It's possible.
You know, and if it was an alien, the alien would probably direct you to say that, so we still don't know.
True.
Actually.
We don't know. We have no idea. So I make merch. There's plenty of merch. I got a lot of Wheel of Time merch. I've got other merch. So I've got merch on Redbubble, which is 99% Wheel of Time. And I'll tell you what the other 1% is after. I have Wheel of Time and just fandom stuff like pop culture stuff on TeePublic. And then we have the Wheel and Chill stuff. The Wheel and Chill stuff is on Zazzle. So there's 3 places. You can go to my thing and you'll see all the links. So the 1% on Redbubble is now an OA shirt.
Which I am showing on the screen.
Oh!
You can't see it, but they can see
I
it.
can't see it.
But they can see it.
It's a good one.
Yep.
And if you watch the last 4 episodes, you know exactly where this came from.
You'll get it.
You'll
get it.
You'll
Yeah.
get it.
So, and
Anyways.
you said these are on Redbubble, correct?
No, yeah, these are on Redbubble.
Well, not all who wonder are lost. You will get the Homer reference by the end of the episode because we'll talk about it.
Lanfear's bow.
One eye on this, one eye on Iowa versus LSU. That's fair. That's a fair. It's
Who are we going for? LSU, right? Okay.
Caitlin. No, I'm going for Caitlin.
Iowa.
Iowa.
Caitlin's a goat. Hashtag Caitlin for
Are you
life.
kidding me?
Okay. Well, I'm glad.
Caitlin invented threes.
Whoa.
Never heard of a 3-point shot until she started making them. That's all I can say. Anyways, we did not come here to talk about basketball, although I do appreciate the love for ladies in basketball, because fun fact, I always overshare, and I will share this time. I don't know if you guys know this, but I played basketball all through grade school and high school, and we ended up losing in districts to the state champions by 2 points.
Well, not nice that you lost, but
by 2 points.
2 points.
Good job.
So we were pretty good that year. My senior year, we were pretty good.
And look at you still able to brag because it
I
was
know.
just 2 points.
I know, it's only 2 points. I just,
I love this.
every
While she's talking
every
about
time
it.
something comes up that relates to my extremely impressive past, I won't hesitate to bring it up. So here we are. I played basketball. So, anyways, yes, this is Tavern's merch. Sorry, I'll click away.
Yeah, that's been on there for 10 minutes. Thank you.
She's happy to be wearing it, I think.
She seems happy.
Or showing it at least. Okay, so I am Kritter XD. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram, and I have a Discord. I also have merch on Redbubble. I don't have nearly as many designs as Tavern, but
they're awesome.
But I do. They're mainly Wheel of Time themed. I have a few Lord of the Rings, and I have several Cosmere / Brandon Sanderson themed articles of clothing / items that you can purchase if you're interested. I'm also on Twitter as Egwene Alvear and Kritter XD. So Egwene Alvear is my primarily exclusively Wheel of Time account, and then Kritter is just whatever I feel like talking about on that given day. So feel free to follow me there if you feel like it. I will also mention, before we get too far into the stream, just in case people have to drop off or something, that we do have our next Wheel and Chill show planned, which I know doesn't always happen, but it is 2 weeks from now, which will be the week of JordanCon, which is a Wheel of Time convention, or it's a literary convention originally inspired by Robert Jordan, the author of the Wheel of Time. And at that Monday night stream, the week of JordanCon, we will be talking to Larry Daniels, and I believe maybe one other person who's in charge of the JordanCon auction, about JordanCon generally and what the auction is all about and everything like that, just to kind of like get hyped for JordanCon. And so that is something to look forward to. And Winespring and I will also be doing, we'll talk about this more on that Monday stream, but Winespring and I will also be doing a JordanCon stream from JordanCon on that Sunday. So that's like, let me pull up the calendar. I don't want to get this wrong. That's the 21st. 2 p.m. probably Atlanta time. I guess that's Eastern. I don't know. 2 p.m. I think Eastern. So that'll be once most of JordanCon is over. I think. I guess my last panel is like noonish that day, and so we're gonna have like a basically
like so busy and important.
We're gonna be having kind of a JordanCon after party, and Winespring arranged like an awesome activity for us to do, which we'll talk about on Monday to hype it up, but be excited for that. And also, if you're interested in being a guest on the Wheel and Chill show in person,
in vivo
at JordanCon, keep an eye on the auction, and that's all I'm gonna say about that for now. All right, so that's all I have to say.
I can't do it.
What happened?
I keep mimicking your hair.
Oh. Sorry.
I'm trying, but I can't
It's
do
so
it.
cute. You're like
JordanCon. Everything at JordanCon is gonna be super fun. I'm really excited. Am I done with my cosplay? No, but that's fine. We'll be fine.
There's so much time left.
Everything's fine. Now we are here to talk about the OA. And I saw Larry Daniels in the chat, so hey, we'll see you also 2 weeks from now on Monday. You'll be here with us talking.
Hey.
So get excited. Great. The OA. All right, so as I mentioned, I am a first-timer. So I am kind of not the one going to be leading the charge here. I'm going to be the recipient of questions and vibe giver, and we're going to leave Tavern and Winespring to the real intense moderation of this here stream. So why don't you guys take it away?
Winespring, go for it.
Okay, I'm going to start with a really intense question, Kritter.
Okay.
Put episodes 4 through 8
Oh,
in order of enjoyment.
5 through 8.
Ooh.
Just as
5 through 8.
Five
Yeah, 5
through
through 8.
8.
Math.
5,
through 8.
6, 7,
Numbers.
8.
Close down episode 4 notes because that's right.
Oh, in order of enjoyment. Okay. Let's do the audience a favor.
Oh yes, and polls. I love polls.
Oh no, I'm not a poll. We're gonna help the audience by definitely not me. You guys are gonna remind the audience just a very brief snippet of like the vibe of each episode, so that so the audience knows which episode is which.
No, you're good.
I don't.
Okay,
need this.
so
They
we'll
need
do.
this.
Let's start episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
Paradise. This is the one that opens up, and I believe he is in Cuba.
Cuba.
He's in Cuba, and we see this
Okay.
delightful woman, playing, I believe, the guitar, captivating.
Played by
that
Paz
kind of
Vega.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and we see the interactions with her and Hap. How it
Okay.
ends, where I believe he goes home alone this episode.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
He does.
Okay, episode 6, we have Forking Paths. Just scanning real quick so I can do that. There's some daydreaming between Prairie and Homer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of
the garden they're cooking.
yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of deep sadness, and he's trying to pull her out, and we're seeing a lot of their bonding starting to really come to life in this episode.
Very short episode also.
It was 30 minutes.
Like
is that right?
Okay, that one was the short one because I couldn't.
That was the short. Yeah, that was the short one.
All right.
Yeah, and we see a little bit of engagement at Buck's house that was very telling.
Wait,
Some
hold on.
background conversation there right at the end.
Episode 6 also ended, I believe, with the sheriff. Correct?
Yes. Yep. So the sheriff arrives at the door.
And that's where it ends. Yeah.
And does he point the gun at?
Yeah, he puts the gun at his head. Yeah, and he says, get up or whatever he says to Hap.
Slowly.
Yeah, turn around slowly or whatever.
Legs. Yeah.
Just abrupt end.
And that's just it ended right there. Yeah, that was so cool.
Did you know that one was 30 minutes, Kritter? When you?
I did. I saw that
You
it was,
did? Okay.
but it said like I could have sworn it said like episode 6 part 1 or something. So I was like, wait, are there? Like, is there a part 2? And then there wasn't, I don't think. So, whatever.
They got you.
Yeah, they got me.
Okay. And then we have episode 7, Empire of Light.
Okay.
This is the one. Okay. So my notes really go hard into.
This
things
is the
about
one with the other
Steve's
doctor,
parents. Steve's parents
Yeah.
Finally call in the.
Oh, yeah.
What were they called?
The home for boys or whatever.
Yes, and they show up and
Oh,
drag
yes.
Steve out, and then we see, Betty really showing up in crazy ways.
That was
Betty's
crazy.
amazing.
I mean,
I
amazing,
love
but
Betty.
like
I loved it.
a
but,
little
like,
She is so clutch.
yeah.
some red flags there. So,
Yeah, no, she's got issues.
That's a little intense. Yeah.
and we have the whole interaction with the OA's parents, finding out
Yep.
there's a note
Yeah.
that the dad
Oh,
never
that was a
saw, and
good
that
one. Oh, yeah.
drama. And then I think at the end of that episode, they're at the hotel.
Yeah.
So we're not quite sure what's happening yet there. And then 8 is Invisible Self, which we've heard a reference to
Yes.
kind of throughout the show.
Yeah.
More in the beginning a little bit, I think in conversations with Steve specifically.
Uh-huh.
And, we get the wild moment in the cafeteria that's,
Yeah.
super triggering for like all of us watching that
That
movie.
was pretty
Like, really intense. But leading up to that, like we see her, the OA, like I think she's gardening with her dad. We hear she's on medication again.
Yeah.
Um,
So which
little-
episode?
yeah, she has a.
Which
sorry,
episode was the one that Homer went to Cuba? Was that episode?
That was the first episode.
That was episode 5. Okay, so it
Okay.
started with.
Oh, so it did end with him there? Are we sure?
No. He leaves and goes home empty-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, you're right.
In
The hotel
episode,
helped
in
with
episode
Renata. Mhm.
7, I believe he
takes
goes
Homer.
back with Homer.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm
And
trying
we
to
also learn about the other doctor that he's like
that was in episode
competition with.
7.
I believe that was 7.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
Mhm.
Because it was a long thing. Or actually, was that 6? I don't know. Anyways, the Doctor's in there somewhere.
Great.
So
Okay, well, when it comes to ranking episodes, then let me just.
That's all over the place.
I know. Let me say. Let's just say. How about I talk about the things that I like
We're
the most
professionals.
in all 4 episodes? Because
Yeah,
I
it's
like.
fast.
It's like the Wheel of Time books, where most of, like it just kind of all. I watch them. I binge them, and so the
Oh, yeah, you have
delineation
to.
between episodes is kind of like fuzzy.
Yeah.
So I really liked the through line of him going to Cuba, the Doctor going to Cuba first, and then seeing the OA's relationship with Homer, getting obviously incredibly jealous, and then intentionally creating a rift between them by taking Homer out, which was surprising to everyone because like that, other than him bringing the OA upstairs to like be his house slave, he hadn't really done anything like that before. And so that was like a really like he manipulated him, and then it was just so interesting to see what Homer did in the situation, and how devastated the OA was. So I thought that plot was very compelling. The other Doctor,
mind games.
The other Doctor plot was so because who would have thought that there was another twisted. There were 2
motherfuckers,
terrible doctors. So that revelation was like, oh wow, like this is awesome. So we
need to come back to that because I like have questions.
No, I know we need to come back to all of it. I will say like my favorite stuff about the OA is not the stuff that I did this about last time. The movement stuff, like that stuff I find, and I hate to say this, the movement stuff gives me like secondhand embarrassment seeing it. I get like a little, I get a little cringed out by it.
Okay.
So while that's happening, I'm like, ugh. But then while everything else is happening, I'm like, oh, like what's what's going on? The fact that
we got to talk about the movement stuff. Don't forget that.
Okay. Well, and then the parents finally finding out, like her finally telling her parents what happened was such a relief to me.
Yes.
And then the honestly, I said that I liked Phyllis, still can't remember her actual name. Betty.
Or BBA.
I said that she was like my favorite, but she went into like, this is a bit much territory for me. Like that, you're like, everyone in their right mind who sees what you're doing here would think there's something wrong with what you're doing, I think. And
flag on the play here,
like
buddy.
flag on the play. Like, I love your passion, but reel it back in. And then at the very, very end, I was just mainly like, okay, so was she actually just delusional, or was this real? Because we're
talking about the OA at that point.
Yes, the OA. Sorry, because it's it's unclear, kind of.
Yeah, we're talking about like the books that we see about the angels.
Oh,
Iliad,
the fact that she gets taken away in an ambulance, and like the suggestion is this the stream that she jumped on voluntarily, or is she just getting taken away in an ambulance because she got shot in the chest? You know, like it's unclear.
What?
So that's where So I think that's better than me trying to rank the episodes.
Okay, that was actually wonderful.
Great.
No, that was amazing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Okay, jump in, Tavern.
All right. So, episode 5. There were some things that happened in both the past and the present. One being that both Homer and French ended up busting their head. Homer in Cuba, and I forgot where French got his head busted.
He was wrestling with Steve.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. They were wrestling with Steve, and he got a cut on his head. And not only that, but it was a very similar spot.
Yeah,
it was almost identical. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Other than the suggestion later on that, like what she was telling them was all made up, right? Because
was she just pulling from what
was
she's
she pulling
seeing?
from what she was seeing? That is the best Occam's razor, I guess, explanation that I have is like.
So you're linking this to the book thing, right? Where
the book thing being further evidence, that she was pulling from what she's seeing, experiencing, reading, and incorporating that into the story that she's telling everyone.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, did y'all notice the moments with the Band-Aid being on and off Homer's head during the Cuba scenes?
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So it's like, how long were they there? Was this just a oversight issue? Is there something more there? I couldn't quite figure it out the more I watched it.
A little continuity.
Yeah.
Situation.
Could be potentially continuity.
It's also
maybe
weird.
Caleb will have something to say in chat. He seems to know everything. Let's go, Caleb.
Caleb's all about this. So the thing about time in this show is that it's hard to grasp because they tell you how long things take, and you're still going, "Fuck, they haven't aged or anything, right?" Or they don't look like they've aged.
She was there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they say it took us X amount of years to get the first two, and then another year or whatever to get the third movement.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going through years of this stuff, and they're just bouncing along. So we don't know at what point. Well, we can kind of probably, if I went back and deducted, what point Renata showed up, right? And she goes from really being pissed off at
Homer,
to being completely gobsmacked by the resurrection scene. So
okay, hands up if you would not be gobsmacked by a resurrection in front of you. No hands, no hands. Yeah, I think Renata has every excuse to be a little bit like, "Let's go! I got to learn one of these too."
Yeah. Pissed initially, and then like, oh,
whoa, where am I at? What's happening?
Okay.
Some scenes you can tell happen over the course of a couple of days, and then other scenes it's like 4 years later or 3, or whatever, and it's like, wow. So yeah, it's really cool.
It's interesting. Well, and the fact that I was struck by the fact that she didn't get out by finding the fifth movement, despite the fact that she did find the fifth movement, allegedly. Assuming that's real. Assuming that's real.
Allegedly.
Sorry.
But
but like, that's not how she escaped. She escaped because he got so jealous again, or like whatever, that he kicked her out. Like he couldn't handle seeing her, I guess, with Homer.
Well, as soon as she tried to touch him,
whatever, and so he just lost it and kicked her out of the car.
Oh,
and
is
so
that what you think it is? You think it was jealousy on Hap's part because of Homer?
Yeah,
100%. Only because
I got.
Yeah,
like a romantic jealousy.
Oh yeah. He's like.
You both think that?
I think it's like a possessiveness. Not
I think so too.
It's
okay, that's a little different. Okay.
It's romantic, but also it's an unhealthy like it's a possessive.
It's like a fanatical obsession.
It's a fanatical obsession.
It doesn't seem sexual. It doesn't seem any of those things when
I think it's also I think it's something that he can't control, and it's driving him nuts. Like he's separated them. He's kept them separate. They're still forming this bond. It's pissing him off, right? Because he doesn't want them to do that, which is why he kind of killed the whole rebellion to begin with. Right?
Yeah. We tried to drive a wedge between them by broadcasting Homer's infidelity.
So I have thoughts on that moment where I'm not sure I agree with you guys actually about that. So it's interesting to hear your thoughts on that. That you think he was trying to drive a wedge between OA and Homer? Okay, that's not what I saw. What I saw was OA's energy within her body was building in that moment before she ever knew what was going on. She was starting to do the movements. So she was feeling the energy of Homer. Like without that, or with that separation, like they're connected. So Homer's energy was going up. We were watching OA's go up. So then he filtered in the sound to see the reaction, almost threw her off. But if I remember correctly, like she intensified her movements, and then you see her almost push out the jealousy after I think she like collapses. She gets back up.
She did collapse.
And she continues. Like there's like this.
But she wasn't doing the movement.
Well, she had like but she still had energy, a physical energy.
There was
happening.
Energy. Yeah.
At the same time, he was having some physical energy happening.
Yeah. So if I recall correctly, Homer and Renata were having sex, and OA immediately started doing push-ups and exercising.
She just had energy all of a sudden.
Her breathing was syncing up with Homer, and he was like, "Oh hell no! There's a connection. That connection has to stop." He could see it, and he wanted control.
The stop part. I saw that I'm going to throw in a curveball here, like a scientist would, and see what happens next. Like it to me just looked like a science like experiment. Like he saw the parallels and tested it, and then it continued. Like he's a scientist. He's twisty, but he's a scientist.
That's so interesting. When she started like exercising and stuff, I thought she doesn't know what's wrong with Homer, where he is. He could be dead, and so she's trying to work out like nervous energy.
She had some nervous energy.
Well, she did. And then when she heard the audio, you expect her to like have a big reaction, which again she faints, so yeah, she does. But she also says he's alive, right? So that was so interesting because like she didn't know, and you expect her to have this like jealous rage or reaction, but instead she's just like, he's alive. Like,
I think she did have that initial, when she collapsed, I think she had that initial jealousy rage thing.
Yeah.
But then she thought about it, was like, oh, that just means he's alive.
Which is fun, like great.
I'm not happy about this, but there's a there's a bright side to this.
Yeah.
So
on the scientific side of it, what I was thinking of when I was watching this, and this maybe is why I didn't grasp jealousy at all, was like there's this theory that like if you have like a particle over here and then a particle over here, they can't even see each other, but they're connected. You've connected them. You turn one on, the other one comes on instantaneously. You turn it off, the other goes off. Yeah. And so it's like you're watching Homer. Yeah. Actually, that's I think where Sanderson got that is this theory. So very much like that. So it's kind of like that. We're seeing that with Homer and OA in that moment.
Yeah,
I thought it was very fascinating.
It was a really good scene. Like one of my, probably my favorite sequence in these back half episodes, because it was just like, whoa, this is twisty.
Yeah.
And a change of setting is always nice, right? Because we've been in the pods. Love is Blind reference, because we've been in the dungeon for a long time. So
all right, there's another scene around, I don't know if it's around that time, but there's another scene in which I think I want to say the romantic connection, but I think it's more of a partnership, but with a little romance in there, between Hap and OA, was when it was her turn to go back to the chamber, and he wanted her to go with him, and they could live together, saving people and healing people and making tons of money. Yeah. So he was looking at that scientifically, but there was also a relationship thing there.
Disagree again. Okay, so totally disagree again.
Also,
she's a beautiful, woman, and he's a dude. So yay, let's read romance into it. I didn't see that at all.
I don't think that's it. I don't think he's in love with her physical appearance. I think
it's an obsession.
In love. Maybe. Yeah, well, an obsession, but I think there's a little bit of a romantic obsession there with what she represents. She's the key to all of his world.
Yes. Yeah.
But there's also, I think, a connection. If Kritter, if you want to bring up Prairie Angel from the thing, this is one of the coolest. And we kind of brought this up with the Halo last time, but this shot,
I immediately thought those look like angel wings.
Angel.
Like the arc. Like I don't know if it was like positioned differently before, or I just didn't notice it as much.
So. They played into it.
I didn't see it so much for Homer when Homer went.
Yeah, but she's
but hers perfect.
Yeah,
just an incredible image.
Yeah.
So this part with the OA being the key, Hap saying, "Hey, come with me. Like we can do this. We can make money off the rich, healing them, that kind of thing." I think that's because he realizes she's the leader, like she's the key, the connection point. She's made all this finally happen. Yeah, but now that he has the movements, he doesn't need her, but he needs her strength and leadership out of the picture. And I think that's why he got rid of her. It had nothing to do with jealousy with Homer.
That's so interesting.
It was more like, I don't need you, and I can't kill you because maybe I'm even afraid of killing you. Hap, like I've done that before, and I don't want to do it again now at this point. Like I'm going to just release you. Good luck. I have what I need from you. That kind of thing, and the mind games that are going to come with the 4 remaining in the cages after having removed the OA, like he's going to be able to step in and, this power role, and after removing her, like, oh, you think she's powerful? Well, I'm actually the one in power here, is what I saw with him removing her. Even the way he mounted her, he mounted her on the ground. That was
Saltburn.
Yeah, like that. I haven't seen Saltburn.
Oh.
I
won't give you any context.
I know about the 3-body bump.
I've caught enough clips.
Yeah, so I don't know about all that, but in that moment when he did that, that was very much him just saying, like, I'm boss, you're out, like, and then he's going to go back and he's going to roll the pack, that kind of thing. Like, it did not look romantic or loving or anything when I watched it.
Caleb made a really good comment. Says, I think romantic in the literary sense, not like love. And I completely agree with that. That there's this this weird romance, thing that he finds about it, but I don't think it's love. But yeah, so that's really cool.
So kind of like Leandrin with Nynaeve in season 2 of The Wheel of Time. We have a little bit of that.
Look at all of our references. Yeah, we can equate this to yeah.
There was very much a romancing happening there, but it wasn't romantic,
Yeah.
Also, kudos to Britt because oh my God, she just walked up to that shit, took the collar, put it on, got closed up, the water came in, and she just like a boss
sat there. Yeah. I found it interesting that in these episodes he was like bringing them out without the gas, and I guess it was he said that the gas was broken or something at the very beginning, but I still was like, he had that like suction cup thing. He could have knocked them out at any moment, but he was still like
because he figured it out,
engaging with them. Yeah, because they knew
he knew that they were trying to do something while they were under. He just didn't know what. So because he saw him doing all the movements and stuff.
Yeah.
So he just stopped.
Yeah.
And to see what was going on. Yeah, he's totally experimenting the whole time.
Too, right? Scott had given them all away.
Yeah,
right.
Scott did kind of.
More gas for you. Now you get to be awake while you're doing this.
And then they brought him back to life anyways.
Yeah, the Judas came back. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between the Bible and what's going on, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm staying away from that whole thing.
That's fair.
That's an interesting.
No, there's a lot of stuff. Okay, so. Yeah. Let's talk about the other doctor. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, no, that's perfect. Let's jump right into that. Go ahead, Tav. Do your thing.
So, this is definitely a whole Sith kind of thing. Master and apprentice. The apprentice is now out on his own, doing his own thing. But it's like a very frictioned alliance. It's like they're giving each other information, but they're frenemies, like big time frenemies. And their egos. Oh my God.
That room was too small.
It was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was wild. And so funny too, because the other doctor was like, I'm about to have a breakthrough, and he's like bragging. But then the moment our guy, whatever,
Hap.
Our guy. No, yeah, sorry, I don't like the guy we know better.
That. Yeah.
The moment Hap is actually like pushing back and being like, actually, my research is saying you're wrong. The dude just he just lost it. It was immediately lost it.
You don't think he was fishing a little bit by being like,
I don't
see what comes.
The other guy?
I think he was
absolutely.
I think he was peacocking. I think he was like,
peacocking is a great term.
Yeah, I think he was just like, this is where I'm at. You doing your little thing in your cabin is great and everything, but my stuff is producing results. And Hap
here in public, and I'm still getting away with it.
Exactly, and Hap made the huge mistake of being like, no, actually, it's this fascinating thing that I'm super passionate about giving away.
And I think it's other dimensions.
His game,
man.
He said multiple dimensions, and the dude was like, what?
Yeah, which makes you wonder what he was seeing and experiencing with his people also that got him so alike.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting to next.
Okay.
What do you allude from the fact that this guy was doing other experiments of the same nature?
One more time, specifically.
Not allude. Sorry, that's the wrong word. Allude is. What do you think, or what do you get from the information of this other doctor, and that he's doing the same kind of experiments? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Sorry.
Well, I think that it makes sense that that's something that people would want to know.
Yeah.
And so, multiple doctors pursuing such groundbreaking idea that there's something after death, it doesn't surprise me at all. It's the methods, and I guess going back to your comment about it being very Sith, it's there's probably other doctors in the world who are also trying to find something like that out, not using kidnapping and torture in order to get it.
Clearly these two were.
Maybe.
Yeah, we don't know how many.
That's what I mean. We don't know what everybody else is doing, but the fact that there's one, it's like an ant. If you see one, there's probably more, I guess. And I hadn't even thought about it that there would be another, but then and then you saw him, and I was like, oh my god, like here it is. And then of course they're like both evil, and so one tries to kill the other, and then the circle of the Sith completes, and the apprentice kills the master.
It's crazy because that whole conversation between them going down the hall, you're thinking he's going to start talking about lab rats that he's working with and blah blah blah, and then you're like,
no, they know.
He knows.
He knows.
Oh, he's doing it too.
And then he gives him away. He doesn't try to like take over the experiment or anything. He's like, there's people being held captive. And
gives him away. That's what you got from that? Like he's
he totally dimed him out.
Yeah.
It took all, think about it. It took all of the freaking pressure off of him.
Yeah.
Except who the hell, like you said, who's gonna think that there's two doctors doing this kind of shit?
True.
I guess. Okay, I see where we're going. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, it's, and to me, I was like, well, he's covering his face now, but like there were also surveillance cameras when he walked into the building, so they could figure out. His
outfit's gonna give him away.
Yeah, they could figure out.
He also had a little cut, just like Homer and French, too, I believe. So for me, when I saw it, I was like, oh, they're the writers here are giving us a moment of humanity with Hap. And that these people are alive. I'm not going to let them just die back there uselessly. I don't kill uselessly. I find use in that, Like,
yeah,
he thinks he's doing good.
Yeah, he thinks he's doing good. He's answering questions that need to be answered. Like, yeah.
You're right about
So it's like this moment of humanity. Oh, look at that. You could have just let
what else happened
slowly.
Yeah.
What else happened the moment that doctor got killed and was no longer in operation? Did you catch anything?
Not that I can come
like
up
he
with
went
right
into
now.
the water? That
Nope.
moment in the morgue? The
Cartoon never showed up after that. Because OA went in and she was in space and Cartoon was not there. That happened right after Hap came back from killing that guy because she looked at him and said, something happened. What happened? He said, I had to protect the experiment. And she went through her experiment and Cartoon was not there and did not come back for the rest of the
So you think that is
season.
Because the doctor died?
Because I think that this is my personal observation. I think that some of the other doctors' patients were also part of this because they said in the show, Rachel never got a movement. She was just in there. She wasn't even part of it. Which means that the other doctor could have had angels or, whatever they are there. And when they got released, maybe Cartoon was one of those. I'm not 100% sure, but that was my thought.
Oh, like she represents this other group while the OA represents our group that we're viewing.
Because remember, he said there was another dimension, which means he was already as advanced as Hap was. So... And he knew about the other dimension. Where would he get that information?
I mean, he only knew that there was one, though.
Right, one
so
dimension.
He wasn't as advanced.
Right. Well, true. But they were on the same. They were
getting to the same place. It was my understanding that Cartoon or whatever her name is wasn't showing up because she didn't want to give away the fifth movement, and
that's what they
had already set in motion the fifth movement coming to them in the way that it ultimately came to them, which we haven't talked about yet.
Which is
the cop
insane.
and his wife, which was wild.
So good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess there's multiple ways to interpret that.
I just think that part of the, I guess the angels or whatever may have been captured by the other guy because they were studying the same damn thing, and so I'm not really 100% sure. But that was just my thought.
Were you surprised when
it's not cartoon? It's cartoon.
Yeah, cartoon. It was cute listening to you say cartoon. So I was like, oh, you guys. We could just stick with that.
Finish out of my teeth.
Oh, did y'all see cartoon? Cartoon didn't come back.
I hate you so much right now.
No, you don't.
No.
Okay, Kritter. So that moment with the other doctor, and he's like, yeah, go in here, look at this, specific drawer. At this point, was this sus?
Yeah.
just intense, like,
Never
what's-
turn your
what's
back
there?
on somebody who's willing to keep a bunch of people locked in a cell. Like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
are
Eat
you
in the morgue.
doing?
Who's eating in the morgue?
Well,
Yeah, they're
Ugh.
having beers and subs in the morning.
on the table.
Oh,
Like,
there was red flags everywhere on
it
that
was
one.
horrible.
That is wrong.
It's so good.
that was horrible. Anyways, yeah, that was I was just immediately like, this is not a thing that would actually happen. In the same way that the
BBA.
Thank you. I didn't want to say BBL because I knew that wasn't it. BBA was another one where I was like, you wouldn't go that, like, in reality, that's not how, you wouldn't go that far because you would lose everything by being
Okay,
so
let's
weak.
talk about the cop real quick. So
Yeah, let's talk about the cop.
We were just kind of touching on it.
That was-
So we have him show up. We think finally a hero.
Finally.
Seeing something, even pulling a weapon, I believe,
Yeah.
and then we actually see him with his weapon. And then we see Hap doing what with his words? Magic.
Yeah.
Like he knows enough to twist into that humanity of this officer who is watching
that he
his
gave that cop.
wife deteriorate with what was it, ALS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that was another thing that I had to suspend my disbelief because I thought, like, even if this cop was going to be like, okay, let's see if this works, he doesn't have to, like, let the guy off scot-free. He could just arrest him right after that. Like, you're
Right?
keeping people captive.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah,
not
no.
going to just let you free
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you healed my wife. Like, yeah, I don't know.
or like why hadn't he called in for backup yet?
yes, there were
Alerted
so many
anybody?
things that I was like, this is not how
Yeah.
this would have happened.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it was
even-
really, the whole cop thing was really crazy. And then how he took them both out with one shot
Yeah.
was insane.
Yeah.
Yes.
When that happens in
Yeah.
Call of
You got
Duty,
some
it's like really
training there.
exciting, but
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
exciting in Call of Duty, not so much in
not so
the
much
OA.
in the OA. No, that was
Yeah.
sad. But the fact that the lady knew and like had that brief moment that she could like hug her husband, that was nice.
Well, and her story, like she knew this was coming,
Yep.
like
she
everything.
held on.
Held on the way that she, knew this was going to happen. That was just,
That was.
I mean, just
intense.
almost as climactic as those like dance moves you love so much there in the
But what-
cafeteria.
What is the dance moves? I love those things.
Mhm.
It's
I love them all.
the. It's
She
the
gives them the fifth movement.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But here's
And you did
Dang
it.
it.
And it's there forever.
Yeah,
Now we have it.
nice.
Thank you.
Yep.
Let's
Can
go.
we clip that,
I
please?
it's just
Can we get a
so. I don't know how they did that as actors. Like, I don't know.
It's
how
more
they
fun
did
than you think.
I
Critter.
guess.
You gotta try it.
Listen,
it's more fun than you
Winespring
think.
does this every night before she goes to bed.
it.
Okay, this is
Lion's
how-
breath is the best. Look it up. Give it a try.
Oh,
No,
okay. So
noted.
here's the thing about the cop and his wife, or the wife, I should say. Granted, she had the fifth movement, right?
She did.
But think about the Ta'veren of all of this, where Hap is has the people he needs. He's collected the people he needs, and the one that's missing has already been pulled to him, but was saved by ALS because she had a near-death experience and had ALS, so she never had the opportunity to have that thing that he talks about where you become really good at something like music or whatever. She never got to that, or he would have known because he knew the cop.
Yeah.
So she was basically it was a weird like holy shit, this world is so much smaller than you think it is. Everything is right there.
Or the like Katoon put it all in motion to end up there.
Something put it
at
in
that
motion.
particular place.
Yeah, but she died. Remember, she had didn't the old lady said she had a NDE when she was a young girl.
Yeah, and that's
she was
how she
handed
got
this
the
information.
movement.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how she got the movement. So that was a long ass time ago.
Okay, I'm getting some pushback on the movements.
Yeah, you
okay,
are.
so Jen is saying the movements are very similar to channeling, and
Thank you, Jen.
I did think that, Jen. I thought that today when I was like, I feel
okay.
bad that I'm going to bring this up because I do find it very cringeworthy, and I want to be fair because I did enjoy the show, but that was one thing that I was like, ugh. But I just feel like the movements, some of them are overly goofy. So like the
Like
grabbing
dramatized.
something out of your mouth and throwing it on the ground, and then the, which I'm doing again. The like
You're doing great.
there's a couple of movements that I'm just like, God, they could have made these like, because some of them are incredibly like fluid and they evoke like the haka, and like there's some stuff that really works.
You mean like the bird that Prairie got?
Yeah, I understand.
The sea anemone.
I understand that they have an origin, but they are
they mimic.
weird.
They mimic what they ate.
I know.
Okay, sorry.
That's what I mean. The origin. They have an origin, but they're awkward
They're
to
supposed
look
to
at.
be otherworldly.
I know.
Like literally.
So when it
like,
comes,
and that's what we're seeing.
So when it comes to channeling, like, to be fair, when I first saw that Rosamund Pike was doing the like fluid movements, I was like, first of all, my preference would be if that didn't happen. I have since gotten used to it, and I do think that in some ways they are more graceful and more like attached to what's actually happening in the moment. Because when you think about it, like in The Magicians, if you've seen that, they do like hand movements too. Yeah. And you get used to it, right? But then it's just, I think a few of the ones in the OA are so goofy that I can't get past it. That's all. And Max Silva saying, do I also not generally enjoy modern dance? Or is there something about those there's something about the movements. It's the goofiness. There's a couple ones that are just too goofy for me that like I have to overcome that barrier before I'm like,
Can we get
I think that leans into
some
philosophical
hashtag
thoughts
I
there.
hate woo-woos? Hashtag I hate woo-woos in the chat, please. Hashtag
I can
hate woo-woos.
use that hashtag. I love the woo-woos.
Okay, sorry, Winespring, what were you saying? There's something about the fact that
there's some connections there with not liking the woo-woos.
Okay,
and then
a little bit, yeah.
and then seeing these motions or these energetic expressions as silly, whereas someone else who maybe doesn't have an issue with woo-woos. We're gonna need you to define that maybe.
Yeah, we need
it actually comes with a hand movement.
The
woo-woos.
It does. Aha. Interesting. Who maybe see those movements and just receive them as more of an energetic expression and not goofy at all. And it makes me think of something I experienced recently. I was watching kind of an interpretive dance situation that was kind of silly in this moment, but there was a child nearby who, when these certain steps started happening, the child goes, "Dad, he's the boss. He's the boss, Dad. He's the boss. That's the boss, Dad." And I'm looking at this dude doing this dance, and I'm like, did not see it that way until I heard a child
and like, oh,
yeah, and I was like, oh, and so it's like there's this. I wasn't able to until I heard that childlike wonder come through. So there's some of that I think that plays into these, these motions, these movements that we're seeing, in this kind of TV show and in, The Wheel of Time and maybe The Magicians. Is that what you mentioned?
The Magicians is pretty good. Yeah.
They do like some, I don't want to accidentally curse in sign language or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do like spells with their fingers. Max Silva saying, if you want to bring someone back to life, you have to embrace everything about life, even the goofy parts. That's a good point.
Can you imagine if it was something like dance for me, dance for me, dance for me? That would be cool.
Whoa.
It's definitely got whimsy. I think I just need to get over, because usually like I say this all the time, like I have no shame, right? Like I'll do it improv.
I've seen your TikToks.
You've seen my TikToks. Like
shame is not
beautiful.
Like I did. Thank you. I've done like improv, even though I have literally no improv training, like at WatCon. You know what I mean? Like it's just like whatever. I'm gonna have a good time.
It's something to see, actually.
It's beautiful.
It's pretty impressive.
Thanks.
Yes.
But yeah, with this, for some reason, I was like, God, I would not be caught dead. Like I could see why, and maybe that's part of it. And you guys are saying this, and now I'm kind of getting it. I wouldn't be caught dead doing that, which is why some of their cellmates have an issue with it at first. They're like, what the hell are you guys doing? This is really freaking weird.
Bunch of weirdos.
Yeah, but then it works, and they're like, oh. So
and to lean into that weirdness, I don't know how soon we want to touch on it, but
whenever
did the end with the shooter. The shooter showing up, and talk about taking all focus away from what he was doing. And he was like, what are these weirdos doing?
Yeah.
He's long enough that he stopped shooting and he's tackled. Like,
not only that.
Were those movements doing anything to stop this person other than shock?
Maybe
Probably not.
I did kind of laugh about that, because I was like, he's literally looking at them like I would be if I
Yeah.
Like if I were in
The
that
shock
cafeteria, I'd be like,
Yeah.
what is happening? Yeah, no, we can talk. I pulled up the picture of her behind the glass.
Sorry about the words.
That's okay.
I have thoughts on this particular thing and that whole scene. And that's that the movements worked, not just to distract the shooter, but they worked in the sense that they created a tunnel through glass, which is like everybody says that glass panes and mirrors are kind of like a doorway.
Travel option.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And there's your tunnel through the glass. So that's what created it. And she had to have the will to let herself die because she kept bringing herself back to life. That was the will that she talked about. Let herself be pulled into the stream. And that was it.
So the stream is death, not another dimension? Or
the stream takes you to another dimension.
But you have to die to get there.
You have to die to get there, is what I took from this.
But is it an NDE or is it real?
No, that's a
real
yeah, that's a real death. Because even at the end, Steve chases after "Take me with you."
You see him see the change.
Yeah, the wind,
it's overwhelming. Yeah,
and
something's happening. He could feel it. Yeah,
and all of it was foreshadowed earlier when she had the dream with the gunshot, because she told the FBI guy, "Clear blue skies, lots of windows,
clanging metal,
like silverware."
Yeah,
and then she had the dream, and she had the dream where you saw the gunshot. That's all you really saw in that dream. But she talks about all this other stuff. So it was so cool.
Okay, Laurel, I wanted to bring this up too. I felt really proud of myself for noticing this. The 5 cracks reminds me of the pods or the their captivity.
Yeah.
And how like 5 people was necessary for the whole thing to work. So yeah, I do wonder if there's even more meaning to it. You know,
there's definitely some symbolism here. If you notice too, not in this particular image, but maybe I could find another one real quick. But there are three of these branches have another branch branching off.
Oh yeah, you can see it in this one. If you look at the one that's going to the left, there's a smaller crack just below it, and then the one going down to the left has a small crack coming off it as well. Yeah, you see the little cracks. But I just thought of this: the girl, the freaking the old lady.
Whoa.
Said,
Betty?
No. The sheriff's wife. What did she eat? It was a starfish, wasn't it? Or somebody ate a starfish. But either way, there was 5. Yeah, so there's 5 movements. There's 5 cracks. It also
looks like a starfish.
And it could look like a starfish, and it could look like a person. Head, arms, legs. So there's a lot of symbology there, which is really, really cool.
And maybe
I didn't catch the cracks when I watched it before,
and catch the cracks
because I was too busy focusing on like, holy shit, she did it. They created the tunnel that she was talking about.
I didn't think about the bullet hole being a tunnel. But when I did not have this turning into a school shooting show on my bingo card at all.
I bet not.
No,
yeah, but when it came out,
the first time I saw this,
it was shocked by those things.
Well, one, it was shocked, but it was very current at the time.
That's what I mean.
Right, because it came out like what Caleb said, like 7 years ago, 2016. So the school shooting kind of took me for a loop the first time I saw it. But then it dawned on me, they're all there, right? Prairie is running there. And they're looking at each other. Should we do this? And what you were talking about, the embarrassment.
Yeah.
Are we going to look like idiots and just get mowed down right now if we jump up?
What was his name? Steve did not give.
No. So the
way like, let's go.
Kudos on that. The other thing is there's an underlying story for Steve, right?
Yes.
He has the anger issues.
Huge.
He punches the kid in the throat.
Yeah, boo.
The throat thing comes up again later.
Yep.
And then a kid shows up at school with a gun, a blonde kid. And I'm thinking to myself, could it be the same kid that got punched in the throat that basically ruined his whole, because he was a singer? Could that be the same kid? Because they never really show his face. They show his hair and they show his eyes for a second.
The shooter?
Yeah, the shooter. They never show his face. They show his eyes and his hair. and he just kind of looks similar to the guy that got throat chunked.
I feel like if it was him, and it could be, but I feel like if it was him, if he would have seen Steve, he would have shot him, right? Because that's probably why he was there.
That's the thing that I'm kind of like, I'm on the fence about it, but in my brain it goes, it makes sense.
It would make sense,
but I'm not sure.
But now we know
it would not make sense. It would not make sense to do that, getting punched in the throat and then shooting people.
Well,
throw that out there.
Yes.
No, it doesn't make sense.
It would not make sense
Right.
at all.
But I'm just saying, in this story, to me, there's a natural progression.
Oh my gosh,
there.
Caleb, you can hear on BBA's radio a few episodes ago that there's a school shooter on the loose. I did not pick.
It was very much alluding to it. Yeah.
Okay, Caleb, I'm going to suggest something for you. Walmart is probably close by. I think Lives. No, I'm just kidding, dude. How do you know all of this stuff? I was going to tell.
I knew that. We just haven't brought it up.
No,
yet.
you knew you knew about the radio thing.
Yes.
Shut up.
Yeah, and in the background of
Good
in
job,
her room,
Caleb.
she
I'm just
has a
kidding.
keyboard, where she's been playing, and it's.
I know that part.
Well,
I
apparently,
mean, there's just literally so many things happen in that one scene,
Damn
like
it.
with BBA, that lead us to the moment where she says things like, "My
I love the show.
boys." Like she is a protector.
yeah, the My Boys thing was like, I
teach her,
thought
go.
she was going too hard, but then when that happened and she ran towards them, I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
and you know who
good
else
for
started
her.
running behind her? The principal.
Yeah.
Instead of running out, he turned
Yeah.
and started
He
coming
went
to help
behind.
too. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and Caleb mentioned that I guess the gap between season 1 and 2 was pretty long, so there was a lot of time to theorize. Which
My goodness.
There
2 years? Is that what it was between?
I don't.
Yeah.
Caleb, how long was it?
He'll know for
Just
sure.
ask Caleb.
Caleb
think it's
knows
2 years.
all.
There was.
Because of Caleb, we're here right now.
True.
Okay, so aside from what they said on the show, do you have any thoughts on what the importance of the note meant to Abel? Which, by the way, cool name, Abel.
Wait, and what it did mean, or what mom implied it would mean?
Yeah, what the
Because I
mom
think it's
implied.
two different
Yeah, that's the thing. What the mom implied versus what you think the meaning of the note was.
Do you remember the note?
Yeah. I guess like
it was pretty simple. I mean,
I was gonna say I take
Might be a
things
little
at face
fun,
value. So like the note itself was her telling them like I'm gonna go. It's like somebody
Gonna
who's
look for my dad.
adopted. I assume I'm gonna go find my birth father.
Yeah.
You know, I need to know he's okay or whatever. And that I think would have been completely understandable if not like a little concerning just because like for fear of her safety for the dad, and the fact that the mom made that decision without telling him.
7 years.
No.
That's a long time.
That's a big
Long time.
no for me. Like
Yeah.
no. That would have upset me too. I would have been
Well,
very, very
Handled
mad.
it like a champ.
He did.
I think it was that and the fact that the note would have given him a place to start looking, as opposed to they didn't know where she went.
Yeah.
It would have given her him at least a place to go to the cops and say, "Hey, she went to look for her dad.
Right. So
We
whatever
got
that
her
can
in New
mean.
York.
Yeah.
We picked her up in New York. Maybe that's where she's going."
Mhm.
You
These
know?
are the stories she has told about being Russian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
said nothing. Well, and also like without the note, because in the note I believe she's like, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Without the note, she could have just run away with no intention of
Just
coming
been
back.
taken. Yeah.
Yeah, or been taken. Exactly.
From
So-
there versus
And
where
from
she
his
was.
perspective, why did she leave? Did I do a horrible job? Did we not
Exactly.
love her enough? I mean, just the
The heartbreak. Yeah.
And yes, Caleb, Abel is the GOAT because I'm making a waffle was probably my favorite damn line. Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot.
he was sassy
coffee.
britches, and he had every right to be.
He's like, I forgot coffee.
Or just a moment when we see, OA's in the bath. She realizes something's about to happen. She gets up. She's running down the stairs. Abel's in a doorway, a pathway, and Abel gets out of her way
Such a good scene.
and trusts her. Like that is what makes Abel the
He
GOAT.
let her go.
He let her go. I mean, she has an ankle monitor. Ain't gonna lose her this time.
he let her go, but
he didn't physically cause an altercation. He
Yeah.
let his daughter do
Her
this
thing.
momentum he saw. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
he
Yeah,
definitely
absolutely
struck me as the I don't want to like pass judgment here, but the better of the two parents.
Oh.
You know, because he
Well-
prioritized, I feel like, Prairie more than anything else, right? Like the mom was interested in the book because of the money and all this other stuff, but he was like
Well, we hear some about the mom's weight that she's carrying. This
Yeah.
is all my fault. I wanted her. You wanted the baby boy. I brought her here.
Yeah.
You know, this is happening with her because of me. You know, so she, you know, they do need money, clearly, you know, like they're showing that, you know, and
Yeah.
that she's going to need a lot of help. And there's just very rational concerns
It's
there
true.
with the mom that don't downplay her wonderfulness as a mother. Now, when she slapped OA, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
Well,
She's
She's
hold
not
on,
a
though.
warm
okay.
Hold
figure.
on,
Yeah.
because she even
It's not.
said, I needed to be loved,
Hmm.
right?
And she would love me forever.
Because she
And
would
she will need
Because
me
she needs me.
forever. But
Mhm.
here's the problem: the note was left to Abel, who
No,
apparently
it wasn't left to Abel.
It was. It said, "Dad." It literally was left to
Just
Abel.
dad? I
Yeah,
don't remember it saying just dad.
yeah. It
That's
literally
very
was
sad.
to her dad to Abel.
Hmm.
And I think that maybe since Abel was better suited to handle, you know, and just dealt with Prairie better, that she was closer to him, and that the mom, there was always, you know, a thing, right? So that's what I got out of it, that the mom was a little bit resentful that Prairie loved Abel more than she loved her. And she was always kind of, I mean, the way she acted as a mother to me just doesn't seem very motherly. I'm not.
Oh, hold on. Whoa. We have that moment where the OA is a little girl and she is crying. She's having a hysterical moment in her dream. And we see that mother run in and embrace her while the father grabs a camera to record. Okay.
All right.
Like
I'll take that part.
moms can make choices and still be great moms. You know,
I agree.
like-
You're right. But I just think she was a little colder than Abel.
Yeah. She wasn't as warm, in my opinion. I think. At least when Prairie came back.
Yes.
I can't really speak for her whole childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, the note was pretty heartbreaking. The fact that it was concealed was very heartbreaking.
Awful. Yeah.
I can't imagine keeping like that from like a spouse. Wow.
No, that's insane.
Yeah.
And the police that are trying
And the
to
police
help.
who are trying to find her. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, you've hindered the investigation.
What is the thought process there at that point? You know, like they didn't get
There's
her.
survivor's guilt. There's a trauma reaction. there's
Yeah, but I don't
PTSD.
think
all those things are handled in the whole first season with every character.
Yeah, but I don't think that they adopted her legally.
Oh no, definitely not.
So
No, definitely not.
so
No, they bought her. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm not really sure if that played on the mom's decision to not give the note up. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they might have to give up some background there.
Oh.
Some legal issues
I
that
don't
could
know.
happen.
Either way, both the characters for Abel and what's her name? No, Nancy. Thank you. I just looked down and it was in the Caleb with the names.
This is time, Caleb.
You know, Abel and Nancy, phenomenal acting. Oh my God.
Gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
The emotions, so good.
I mean, she's just a broken person. Like,
Yeah.
She's a broken person after 7 years carrying around that guilt. At what point does she think I should show the note, but can't now because it's definitely been too long now?
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh, that's
that
crazy.
could be a month, that could be a week, you know, that could be 2 days that she hasn't shared it. And she's already locked in to this decision she made in a moment. And now she's been carrying that around for 7 years.
Crazy.
Like there's so many layers to that terrible choice that she made that we're seeing like in her body language, her guilt, her reactions, her overreactions.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I touched on briefly earlier that I want to bring back.
Knew it.
And that's do you see any similarities between the 5 that were in the cage and the 4 kids and BB? No, was it 5? No, 4 kids in BBA, right? Yeah, 4 kids in BBA.
3 kids. Because they needed 5 total, right?
It's Steve, Buck Vu.
Oh, true. It was
French
4 kids.
and Jesse. 4 kids, yeah.
Okay.
I just added an image that's relevant. If you want to pull that in,
Yes,
sorry,
please.
go ahead, before we move on too far. And thank you to the Meme Reborn for finding that for us.
Nice.
Shout out
Good
to
job.
the Meme Reborn.
Senor.
There it is.
I believe it's a correction that needs to come from someone here and it's not me.
Ooh, wait, sit.
The note indeed says mom and dad.
Mom and dad?
Mom and
Oh,
dad.
I didn't see the mom part. I thought it said to my dad or whatever.
Mm-mm.
Okay, fine. Okay, moms are important too.
They are.
I'm gonna call meme the meme 08 from now on.
Thank you, Mr. Winespring,
Because
for,
he
helping me out
because
there.
he was born.
That came through just in time. Okay, sorry.
See, that's why I didn't catch it, because I thought it was like his weird name, Momand.
Oh, Moman.
Wow.
Moman Dad.
Excuses.
Great job.
Okay.
Moman.
Teamwork, dreamwork happening over here.
Hey, listen, Moman Day is coming up pretty soon.
It is Mother's Day. Is that what you're doing?
No,
true.
Dad's Day. Oh, no,
that
that would be
next?
Momanda's Mother's Day, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kritter.
You were asking if there were any similarities between the original 5 and the other 5.
Yes.
Well, I do think they were trying to draw a parallel between the lacrosse kid and Homer.
Okay.
Because of the head.
Frenchie and Homer. Mhm.
Yeah.
And the mirror moment.
And the mirror moment. Right.
And the fact that they were both athletes.
Right. Yeah. And like kind of golden boys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As far as like probably there's like an F up category that would go to the Jesus guy in the pods and
Scott, right?
Sure. I'm terrible
Yeah,
with
Scott,
names.
you're
Like
good.
horrible.
You're good. We got this.
And
Wait, you said Scott and who?
Steve, I guess, the guy who punched the guy in the throat, because they're
Okay.
just absolute like like they just can't, they're
Oh, you don't think Steve is OA? And Jesse maybe is Scott?
Steve is OA. I mean, he does seem to be the most into
No,
it.
Steve. I don't think Steve is OA.
Hmm.
I think that you're right with Scott and Jesse because they're both drug users.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then you have Renata, I think, is Renata and Steve because they were just like Playboy, Playgirl, just sleeping with people and just living
Steve doesn't sleep around. He slept with one girl and he really wanted that girl to be his girlfriend. And she didn't want to be.
I agree with that. But it was he's very sexual is what I'm saying. Because he was with that girl and he'd been with other girls. Anyways, but that's the similarity that the parallel that I got from those two. Because they were both involved in sex on the show, and that's the only time you see that happen, right? So, and that's why I was like, okay, that makes sense.
I'm struggling.
I'm not sure about if Buck is Rachel or not.
Yeah, I'm struggling with the rest of them. I don't know that there's supposed to like a deliberate parallel.
It's a fun thought though.
The sheriff's wife could be BBA. Could be similar to BBA, who teaches them. She's a teacher, and she teaches them the last thing that they need to know. So
Yeah.
that's a good, pretty decent parallel.
BBA could also, I guess, if we're like forcing a parallel, be the OA because she's kind of a leader among them.
True.
And she also fully bought in.
But yeah, it was very cool.
It's definitely a thought.
I totally think it's Steven.
And actually, Rachel was a singer.
Yes.
And there's Buck Vu, Rachel, because Buck Vu also sings.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Ooh, there's an interesting parallel with Rachel and Buck that just made me think of. Okay, so with Rachel's story about her brother dying, she talks about the backpack and the red fire, that kind of stuff. Later, we see Buck traveling to the house, and what does she passes on the road? A backpack with flares.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh,
that's right. Good job. I was wondering. That was one scene. That I was like, what the fuck just happened there? Like they never.
That was a
talked about
parallel
it.
that they gave us, but I didn't think about
that was like
how that could be done.
never talked about that.
Because it's one of those things that could have been pulled from reality, except the OA wasn't there to see that happen. She wasn't there for that.
I never even caught that. Holy shit! Good job. Which means that I think that's the OA, unless like I said, unless
Caleb mentioned the backpack too here in chat.
Unless BBA, she says, is her brother Theo Allen, maybe Theo or the OA, her brother dying recently.
I like a Steve in the OA. We can think about like the dog moment. So we have the dog, Steve 6 on OA. OA causes the dog to submit, and then we see Steve. Steve also kind of bites the OA, and she has him submit.
Yeah, she actually. That's true.
That was great.
He stabbed the hell out of her with that pencil.
Yeah,
boy,
that was
she
wild.
didn't flinch at all. Yeah,
That kid, he
was a rabid dog, man.
I know.
He's a great character.
No,
he's a good character.
I love a redemption story. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what they gave us with him. Like, it's a freaking wonderful
And
redemption story. Like,
Yeah.
where he ends up, he is still in school. I want to know the background story there, where these dudes take a $50,000 check from a crazy teacher on the side of the road and then just hand off an adolescent. Like, they're going to end up in jail, hopefully, you know, and then like there needs to be accountability for the parents and the choices they made and vetting they did not do for this program.
Yeah.
You know, like there's so many issues in this background story of Steve that caused Steve to be exactly who he is. You know, like it's because of the way we see him to kind of reform his thoughts in that moment where he goes and he's in the shower. He's like, okay, this was then, but I've changed and I'm going to, you know, make this better and I'm going to pay you back. Like he is verbalizing the change that's happened in his life. And his parents are so small-minded that they don't even give him a second to display it. And they haven't been viewing it at all. You know, like they piss me off so bad, almost more than half sometimes in the show. Like, I know that's twisted, but it's because they're more realistic, you know, bad parents.
Yeah.
Okay, so from having to think like a criminal for a lot of years to catch them, right? Here's the perfect excuse for that. They took $50,000. Kid got away. We stopped to get gas. He ran off. We couldn't catch him.
Okay, there's cameras everywhere. There's people.
I agree, but it's nighttime, and you saw how dark the side of that freaking gas station was. I'm just telling you.
They cashed that check. They're done.
That's the excuse.
You know, like I guess they're idiots. Clearly.
Oh no, they're not smart.
Doing what they're doing, and for making that.
And it's a cashier's check.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah.
But it's a simple excuse. Oh, he just got away. It's sad.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like we've covered a lot. Are we missing anything?
You mentioned, okay, can we go through the list you gave us earlier about things you found interesting? Because I think you gave us 5. I just want to make sure we touched on this again. I'm sure you have the exact notes.
I mean, we talked about the Cuba plot, which is something I liked. We talked about the other doctor plot. We talked about the cop. We talked about the shooting at the end. The note, the movements of I don't know if there was anything. I don't know if there's anything else.
The only thing left is your predictions.
Yeah, I would love to hear.
Zone 2.
Yeah. So okay. So the very end of season 1, you know, we see Steve, he's chasing the ambulance. There's this motion in the air that's implying maybe a dimension shift. We hope, you know, that she's not crazy. You know, we're buying in at this moment too, you know?
Yeah.
But we don't see her. All we see is a black screen suddenly. And then all we hear is Homer.
Yeah.
Well, we see her.
What do we think this means? Does she open her eyes? Is that what we see? Is it like
you see her face.
Moment,
she's in a room and she's sitting there and she goes, Homer? And she kind of looks at somebody and says, Homer. Yeah.
Huh.
So what do you think's happening here before we move on to predictions for next time? Like, what?
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that last little scene. Yep.
It was very interesting.
Okay, sorry. I just thought of something. So one moment before I lose it again. It was something that I wanted to talk about. I think I forgot it. It's fine. No. Oh, we promised somebody that we would talk about the books, and we haven't explained what the books were.
Okay.
But actually, Caleb asked me a question that leads into that really well.
I see that.
Yep. Okay. So, what did I think happened at the end? Is essentially what you just asked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess assuming that she jumped into an interdimensional portal, then she got out the other side. You know, if her opening her eyes, or she opens her eyes and she's in the hospital and she's still in the same dimension.
From dropping off the bridge at the very beginning?
No. Well, no, I hate that. I hate that trope.
That
I'll
would be
never,
a horrible.
I'll
that
never
would be-
assume that that's what's happening.
That would be a Walking Dead thing, and
no, after being shot.
Oh my gosh.
She opens up her eyes in the hospital in the dimension that she was in before.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, there's two options, and those to me, those are the two. So wait, Caleb says we hear Homer. Oh,
That's
we
what I
hear...
thought. Yeah.
Doesn't she? Oh, she says it before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Before she
And then
opens
it's
her
just
eyes?
bright, and it's just a bright light. is
really
what we see,
bright.
Yeah.
I took it as her saying it.
Yeah.
I guess. And okay, so yeah, all right.
Okay. And then so Caleb in the chat is asking how much of her story do I think is real? And so that
Great
brings us
question,
back to
Caleb.
the books that we haven't talked about yet. It's I
have a
Oligarchs?
list if we want.
I have them. It's Oligarchs, Angels.
Oligarchs.
Yeah,
Angels.
it's the book of Russian Oligarchs, the book of
Russian oligarchs, which is
yeah,
like
and
her
then
family backstory.
What's the one about the angels? It's like an encyclopedia of angels or something?
Something like that, yeah.
We have
Winespring
near-death
has the
experiences.
list.
Okay, near-death experiences.
Okay, so we have
and-
Homer's Iliad, Homer's Odyssey, the Austera. That's the trilogy of Greek tragedies.
Okay.
The Metamorphosis, a novella telling a story about a person who wakes up one morning to find themselves transformed into a giant insect. We have The Portable Dorothy Parker, a collection of works of American writer, witty stories, poems, and essays with sharp humor, social commentary. The Secret Doctrine, a foundational work.
These are all the ones that were in the box?
Yeah, I thought there were only like 5 books.
There were 5 books in there.
These are throughout the show.
Oh,
yeah.
All right,
Eastern and
okay.
Western esotericism, that kind of thing, discussing cosmic and metaphysical concepts.
Right.
And A Wrinkle in Time, the children's classic science fantasy novel.
That's a good, yeah.
Okay. So 2 of the kids who are looking at her house and go up into her room, I think it's 2 of the kids, one of the kids at least, they find a box under her bed.
French breaks into the house, yeah.
Yeah, and the box has books that oddly line up with the story that she's been telling them. Right,
and that's the ones that I was talking about.
Yeah, the Russian oligarchs one, which kind of is where she came from, her backstory.
Right.
The
Encyclopedia of Angels or whatever.
Encyclopedia of Angels, which is where angels, whatever. There's the Homer, the Iliad or the Odyssey. And Homer is her love interest. Near-death
experiences,
which is the whole foundation for the experiment. And so obviously at that point the kids are like, or the kid is
questioning.
Oh.
Yeah, especially right after he said, I'm going to prove her story is real.
Right. Oh, man.
And then he sees this shit.
So the moment I saw those, I thought, oh, I had the same thing that he had, where it was like, okay, we're hoping that this is real. We're hoping that this is magical. And instead, now it's leaning more in favor of it not being that.
And then we see Fringy run into the FBI agent who doesn't arrest him for breaking in, which is interesting. He actually hugs him and comforts him like, this is going to be a hard reality for you to accept too, that this is not real. She's living in a delusion that she's invited you into, like these kind of things.
And kudos to the film doing that, because that's exactly what he would do. This kid is traumatized. He's definitely gone.
He is reacting.
Yeah. So perfect. Amazing.
Yeah.
But
they handled trauma and PTSD, I feel like, very interestingly on this show. Yeah.
On the other hand, though, the kids found the video of her playing the violin in the train station, right?
Yes,
so
they did.
So that was like, that backs up her story. They've also, I think, found an article about a bus accident in Russia around the time that it should have happened, in like an old news article. Like,
but they didn't have the right names or something. Yeah.
Right. And so it's to me, let's just say I would like to believe that it's real, but they planted enough seeds of doubt that the whole time, and even at the end, I thought, so what was the actual intent? Like, what did the writers think? I would, now that I've seen it, I guess I haven't seen season 2, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but I want to know what they want us to think, or what they were looking for.
I need to go back, because when they were looking at the bus thing and they said, no, it doesn't match because the name doesn't match. I can't remember the name that they said, but was it her original name?
I think, wasn't her name intentionally obfuscated, like not right, because of like who she was, and they didn't want
no they
to
named
be
her
found and followed into the Americas, like that kind of thing.
Well, because
of who she was under her
right, so they hid her, in the one house, and then they changed her name to Prairie when they adopted her. But her original name they said in the first episode, and I need to go back and see if that's what Steve says.
Yeah,
if that's the name that Steve says it, because I thought it was like Katarina or Kathleen or something like that.
Yeah,
but
I don't remember exactly how it went down. Yeah. I didn't take that as a confirmation that it didn't happen though, because I thought like her dad like found her on the side of the river. Like he could have just hidden the fact that she was rescued at all. You know, like so I don't know.
And it's still just a story she's telling us. She's the narrator. She's a bit of an unreliable narrator, you know.
Which could have been in that story. Could have been in the Oligarch book.
But also, yeah, true. But the fact that I guess in the end, the movements did stop the shooter long enough that he could be stopped. It was like, okay. Do I believe that would happen if there wasn't something to them?
But the wind was howling when they were doing it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Like that to me is like that is also in favor of it being magical, because who's just gonna stop and watch these weirdos doing that? You know, unless there was something behind it. So I don't know. I hope it's real.
You do hope it's real. Okay.
You know, obviously, like it's a TV show, but like I hope that was the intent.
Obviously, a TV show, right?
I hope.
Like Caleb, it's just a TV show.
I do hope the intent was that it was really magic.
Don't anger Caleb.
I'm just dragging.
He will not get us. He will not give us the information we crave when we don't know what the hell we're talking about. All right, if we anger Caleb.
So there is So season 2, I don't want to be spoiled, obviously, but I am curious. It's not like an anthology or whatever where it's all new characters. This story is.
You want us to answer this for you right now?
Do you want us to tell you?
Well, I guess.
Like, do you really want us?
I mean, I guess I don't. I could have swore you asked me something along the lines of, "Do you have any predictions?" And I don't. I don't want to predict anything if it's like an anthology and we go to different characters. I will be disappointed if I don't get whether Prairie found Homer. Like, I'll be disappointed if I don't.
That's kind of the only thing you'll be disappointed about is Homer and.
Yeah. I think like that was the main thing. Her whole goal, like her thesis throughout the whole thing, was that she wanted to find Homer, and and I want to know how that worked out. If I find out how that worked out, then I'll be happy.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna give you something about. Now, I'm not going to tell you about season 2. I'm just going to kind of give you a vibe, and then I'll let, or we'll have Winespring give you her idea of a vibe for season 2.
Unless you don't want to give me anything, and then you don't.
No. This won't tell you shit, but it'll be fun for me. Are you ready?
Sure.
The level of woo is through the freaking roof in season 2.
We ramp up the
fucking woo is through the roof.
Okay, that's good to know. So I can gird my loins for the woo.
Yeah, gird your loins for the woo.
Okay.
What about you, Winespring?
I can do that.
Girded woo loins. That's. I like it.
That sounds like a dish. Blackened woo. Blackened girded woo loins.
I was gonna make it a dessert, but now me.
When I hear loins, I think of like pork. No, but you don't. You try to stick to like vegetarian. Okay, so never mind.
Okay, so we're trying to give just a gentle thought about season 2.
Yeah.
I would just say, embrace the delicious weirdness.
I didn't want to say weird, but I'm glad you did.
Well, I mean, season 1 is freaking weird.
I was going to tell you that the weirdness is out the window.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're saying it that way, so it's just going to help normalize it and regulate it for you. So when you're watching it, you're like, what were these crazy kiddos talking about? It wasn't weird at all. This is
all right.
normal.
Let's. Can we? Should we let them know when season 2 1 through 4 happens?
I mean, we don't have a date picked out, so
we don't even have a date. I need to pull up my calendar.
Not yet.
I was gonna say, I thought it was a month from today, but
I mean, typically, but we're also behind on Nights to Say Chill, so like we'll figure it out.
We'll talk about that right now.
I
can't talk about that right now.
Yeah, we will just monitor our socials, and we will get back to you about what is next for the Wheel and Chill Show, aside from our next episode, which is 2 weeks from now at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, where we're going to get hyped for Jordan Con by talking to the charity auction chair and just kind of talking about Jordan Con, maybe of years past, of years future, and everything that we feel like talking about it. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing.
One day I shall go to.
Someday Tavern shall go. In the meantime, as usual, I'm going to let everyone give final thoughts before we sign off. So, Winespring, do you want to go first?
I'm just in my emotions right now, thinking about the Nights Who Say Chill. And if anyone hasn't caught up on the storyline of what happened, you really should, because it's awful and terrible, and it's the worst. And you're going to want to know about it, so you can watch the next time that we play, and it'll be fine. But
I personally thought it was Willy Wonka and the Woo Factory. No.
It's not funny, and it's too soon, and I hate you. So, final thoughts on the OA. This was super cool, getting to speak with, like, someone who's seen it, Tavern, and a first-time viewer. I remember the first time watching it, just being blown away.
Those books,
one of the first shows I think I binged. Like, I don't even know if I knew the term binge watch yet, if I'm honest. Like, I think it was like Stranger Things, which we eventually need to talk about the connection with Stranger Things and the OA. Season 1, not a spoiler. It's a season 1 thing. So, so that, just the whole sci-fi thing that was happening around the same time there. It's just such a fun show, opens up creativity and weirdness with science, and kind of pulls you in with some of that. So I just love it. Can't wait to talk about season 2 with you. This Kritter, especially. So, yeah. And also check out Winespring Cafe on X. That's me. Hey. And hashtag What Eats. It's delicious, yummy food. And I meant to bring a piece to show you. I picked up white asparagus today. It's finally season, for white asparagus. Leandrin has been like,
we know where you've been. We know where you've been.
Where's the recipe?
And now we're
with
gonna
white
get
asparagus. So you have a new recipe coming with white asparagus soup. It's really yummy. I originally had it when I lived in Germany. I don't know if you had it when you were there, Kritter. It is very delicious, very simple. So I can't wait for you guys to try it. So make sure you look out for that on X.
Okay. Thank you, Winespring. Tavern.
Have you not signed the contract with NASA yet? You just play it.
I did.
I did. So yeah, listen, I am super stoked that you are enjoying this show. There are some shows that I've watched over the years that are just at the top of my list, and this is one of them just because it's so cool. I also love how they're embracing, we talk about angels, so there's religion there, but it's kind of like Old Testament stuff, not
that was my favorite
newer
study.
stuff. Huh?
That was one of my favorite studies in college.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's very Old Testament. I mean, the angels back then were very weird looking, if I'm not mistaken. So this kind of fits in with that, which I love. And the fact that Kritter's enjoying it and Winespring is having a blast with it again, and the fact that we've got Caleb.
We got Caleb, man.
Respect.
Can I add one more little comment I forgot to say?
Yeah, please.
Other than, yo, Caleb, what up? I also just want to say, I got my mom to watch it too because we were doing this stream. And she's not someone who, she might be. She'll pop in here in a minute if she is, because she watches sometimes, but she totally binged it. Like, she knocked it out quick.
Yeah,
she
awesome.
loved it. And that's, a totally different generation, totally different mindset than me in life in general, in reality. And, and she loved it, really, really enjoyed it. And, shows like that, yay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Last thing. Hi, Mom. First off, what's up, Mom? How you doing?
Watch out.
Oh, wait, sorry. I didn't know. I thought she was.
She might like it too much,
I thought she was single. I don't know.
She is.
Oh, nice.
You're not.
You're not.
Listen, I'll guarantee you that mine will pay money to have me removed
elsewhere.
And how much can you start the bidding?
Damn it. Oh, yeah. This is what I was going to say. Kritter, you already know that there's only 2 seasons of the OA.
I do, so I won't
because it was canceled by those idiots over there at the one place. So Jeff, if you're listening, because I know you watch the Wheel and Chill show,
Yes.
throw us some love. Grab the OA, bring it on Prime.
Oh,
Let's do this.
Bezos. I was like,
Yeah.
is that like the CEO of Netflix?
No.
How do you know this guy's name?
No. Jeff Bezos.
Okay.
Go get the OA and bring it over.
Jeffrey Bezos.
You know, sometimes I'm just going to defend the choice to end the show real quick.
What?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Have you heard the term jumping the shark?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Okay,
I
so
know what
this is
you're
a show that didn't jump the shark. I don't want to say anything other than that. It
No.
didn't jump the shark. Instead, there's a whole movement to bring it back. So
Yeah, that's
maybe they
right.
did something right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And I will just end this by saying thank you for encouraging me to watch the OA. I missed it because Mr. Kritter watched it without me one time. I was like out of town for the weekend, and I just let it pass.
Rude.
I just let it pass and didn't think about it again. I had seen the hashtag Save the OA on the interwebs and thought, oh, that's interesting. But I had also seen that about Warrior Nun and like several things
Yes.
that
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Which they're bringing back.
which they are bringing back. So anyways, I'm glad that I filled this gap in my resume. I saw several people talk about the 3-body problem in the chat, and I do want to say I did watch that also.
I gotta watch that.
Awesome.
I haven't seen it. 10 of 10?
5 episodes?
6.
How many episodes? 6?
No.
Okay.
8.
Oh, is it full 8?
I
Should
think
we
it's
talk
8.
about that next since it's super relevant?
Maybe we have to talk about the OA first.
Yeah, we have to talk about other stuff. Yeah.
But
Wanna talk about
anyways,
it
yeah. So
all?
that one's been good too. It's kind of got this like a sci-fi. It's not nearly as mystical, but it was a fun one to watch along close in time with the OA. And yeah, I'll just say that I am currently working on my Jordan Con cosplay, so everyone send me good vibes, good speedy vibes for that because I have 2 weeks. Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Okay, well, I think that's a perfect note to end it. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.